If you're thinking about buying one, go ahead and do it. Don't waste your time. This thing is awesome, legitimately. There's a link in the description. Grab yours today, 10% off. Now let's talk about why I think you should just go ahead and buy the Ultrahuman Ring Air. I have been wearing the Apple Watch on my wrist since I got the Series 0 in 2015. I've been completely content. I had the Series 0, the Series 4, the Ultra, and now I have the Series 7. And I just love Apple Watch. I think it's super convenient. And honestly, when these rings started to pop up, Oura, Ultrahuman, Ring Con, I just didn't really think I needed one. I really didn't want one. I was like, my Apple Watch can do everything that can do. Why would I need a ring to do the same thing? However, my thoughts on these rings changed when I decided I desperately needed a break from notifications, technology, social media. For about 6 months, I was trying to cut away with these things, and I was actually really interested in smart rings again because look, no screen, no notifications on this guy. It tracks your health and sits on your finger. It's perfect. I really enjoyed tracking my sleep with my Apple Watch Ultra and all of the health tracking, exercise tracking, all that stuff I'm still very interested in. I didn't want to just throw that away. So in getting rid of my Apple Watch, I knew I needed some kind of fitness tracker to keep up with that data. Coincidentally, it was literally at this time that Ultrahuman reached out and asked if I wanted to review the Ultrahuman Ring Air. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, please, this is perfect timing. And what I decided to do was get rid of my Apple Watch for an entire month, just have a regular, as you may have seen, Casio watch on my wrist and allow the ring to do everything that it could that I was used to with my Apple Watch. So I went an entire month with no Apple Watch, just wearing this ring, and these are the great things that I have found the Ultrahuman Ring Air to be. I'll also share some of the cons here in a minute, but I just want to talk about the reason why I think this thing is awesome. First off, I've been wearing this for a month and I wanted to do a little bit of comparison between the Ultrahuman Ring Air and the Oura Ring Generation 3 and how they hold up over a month. So here is the Ultrahuman Ring after 1 month of use, and here is the Oura Ring after 1 month of use. As you can tell, huge difference. No, I'm actually joking. I don't actually own the Oura Ring Gen 3. I was literally at Goodwill donating some clothes and saw this in the parking lot all scuffed up and gross, and probably bad on me for taking it, but I thought it'd be funny to use in this video and potentially review this maybe at some point. I'm not super interested in Oura Ring, especially because of their subscription that you have to pay on top of buying the ring. We'll get to that in a second. The biggest thing that I like about this ring is the sleep tracking. Wearing an Apple Watch, though they're pretty comfortable, especially during the day, I found while sleeping, they really aren't that comfortable. It builds up sweat underneath the band while you're sleeping. That and the battery doesn't last very long, so I was having to find weird times during the day to try and charge it while still wanting to be able to track my movement and health data. I was having to charge it when I didn't really want to. So the biggest thing about the ring is really comfortable. Honestly, I mean, I have a wedding ring. I wear jewelry. If you don't, it might take a little bit of getting used to, but I have found I didn't really notice it while sleeping, and I loved being able to have that super insightful health data while sleeping. It's got, you know, some motion added in there. It does your skin temperature. There's your heart rate. It calculates a lot of different things to really show you how well you sleep throughout the night. The next biggest thing, or maybe it's the first biggest thing for me, no distractions. It doesn't vibrate. It doesn't do anything. It just sits on your finger and collects your health data, which is fantastic. It's not distracting. It blends right in. Most people don't even realize that I'm wearing a piece of technology on my finger. I will say at first, when I first got it, it was super shiny and I didn't know if I really liked how shiny it was, but as has kind of happened with my wedding band, it's gotten tiny little, nicks here and there, and honestly, they're not very big at all. Just little scratches here and there, mostly on the bottom side where I'm placing my hand down on the table. And with fingerprint smudges, everything like that, I just kind of like that worn in look a little bit better. But I mean, it's super low key. It's a little bit thicker than my wedding ring. Most people don't even notice that I'm wearing it. So super convenient and distraction free. I think one of the main points that Ultrahuman is better than the competition, or at least the things that surprised me was actually within the app itself. The amount of not only data that it tracks and shows to you in nice little graphs and stuff, but it has insightful information on what to do with that data, how it might be affecting your well-being, why you might be more tired, if you need to rest, if you need to push a little harder today. The other day, it even gave me a notification that I might be a little stressed or I might be doing too much activity. Definitely wasn't doing too much activity, but definitely was feeling a little stressed. So that was really interesting that this ring picked up on my stress level. Another one of my favorite parts of the app is it actually tells you based off certain data points while you're sleeping and throughout the day when you should be drinking caffeine and how much caffeine you should be drinking in order to, one, get the best effect from the caffeine throughout your day, but also so you don't have too much caffeine in your body when you go to sleep. So when to taper off of those stimulants so that you get the best sleep possible. I think that is so valuable because I love coffee and I drink 2 to 3 cups a day usually. So it's nice to know when I should stop, when I should start drinking caffeine, stuff like that. Super interesting stuff. Let's take a step back. I think Ultrahuman as a brand, as a company, is focusing on health in sort of a different way. I feel like with Apple, they've sort of gamified health, right? Like closing your rings and sharing it with your friends and competing, which I think is great, by the way. I still enjoy doing that on my Apple Watch. And I think that other health trackers sort of count steps and they do this kind of quantitative approach to health. I think Ultrahuman is looking at health as a complete individual, as a household. In fact, yesterday they announced at CES that they are going to be releasing this home system that has a smoke detector, temperature sensors, daylight sensors. There's all these different sensors to tell you how your body and how you are living within your home itself and the health of your home and how that affects us and our bodies. So I think Ultrahuman just has a really unique sort of whole body approach to health, which I'm super interested. Not to mention their glucose monitor, which I haven't really had an interest in trying, but kind of am interested. So they're building this sort of ecosystem of devices and software that gives you a really good picture of who you are health-wise, which I think is super interesting and different in my opinion. Another huge thing that I like about the ring compared to Oura Ring, for instance, as I mentioned earlier, there's no subscription, right? So I know Oura started out, you just bought the ring and that was it. They recently introduced that you have to then subscribe for I think $5.99 a month to be able to see your data after buying your $350 ring from Oura. Ultrahuman does have a subscription, but it's more on the lines of, you know, if you break this thing, can you replace it? So kind of like Apple Protection, there's a few other little things roped into their subscription as well, but you don't need it to get the benefits of the ring. You buy the ring once, you get all of the great features and things that updates, all that kind of stuff that are going to be coming to the ring in the future. So I'm wondering if Oura Ring kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit by adding the subscription, but they are top dog in the industry, so maybe they're able to do that. But with newcomers like Ultrahuman, RingCon entering the market, I'm interested to see if Ultrahuman doesn't sort of leap over Oura Ring as the front runner. We'll see. That's a topic for another day. The final thing I want to mention really quick is the customer support. So actually within the app itself, you can send a chat message to the team at Ultrahuman, and I've asked a few different questions here and there about battery life, about, you know, kilometers and miles and all this kind of stuff, but they're super responsive. And I know that the company is based in India, I believe. So even still throughout the day, I usually don't have a problem getting in touch with them. And I love that it's right in the app. I don't have to send an email, anything like that, look for a phone number. You can just chat right in the app, and they're super responsive and helpful as well. So I love that. In fact, I recently asked in the chat, hey, if I was going to, you know, leave my phone at home for the weekend and go on a trip with my family with the light phone or some other device, how often do you have to sync the ring to your phone? Like, can it store a weekend's worth of data before you have to sync it to your phone? And they said, just make sure to sync it before the battery of the ring dies. So it can go 3 to 4 days without syncing to your phone, hold that data within the ring itself, which is still wild to me that that much technology fits into that small a space, but then sync it when you get back to your phone and you should be fine. So that was one, super interesting, and I was interested to know the answer to that. And two, they answered me within like 1 minute of me asking that in the chat. I think it was literally like, hey, and then 5 seconds later, hello, and then we kind of went back and forth a little bit. So super nice that they have that customer support right there. Right, so let's get into the cons, because it isn't all sunshine and daisies, especially in my life. You know, it might be different for you and what you might need. I recently have gotten back into using MyFitnessPal to track my food, and the app itself is interesting. It can pull that data from MyFitnessPal into the Ultrahuman app, which is nice. I don't really need that, but it can. But the biggest thing I think about MyFitnessPal is it's all about consuming calories and burning calories, right? So I'm putting in my food to show how much calories I've consumed, and then when I do a workout, I want to know I've gained calories back into my daily intake because I've burned some. The problem is all the data that can be pulled from Ultrahuman at this point, and their activities are labeled beta, so I'm sure they're working on this in the future, but it just pulls in step data. And so with MyFitnessPal, it wasn't accounting for if I went on a 30-minute walk with my dog using the Ring's, you know, workout feature. It wasn't counting that in MyFitnessPal. So there were calories I was gaining back, but I wasn't able to see. So that was kind of a bummer, but honestly, not that big of a deal. And I'll get to that in a second, why it wasn't that big of a deal. The second thing is it really is in beta testing for workout activity. So I think the Apple Watch definitely does a better job of, on your bike, really just doing any exercise. This ring doesn't really seem to be geared towards an exercise tracker more than other aspects of health. So going back to my watch for exercise tracking was kind of a necessity there. Another thing is, I mentioned earlier, the coffee stimulant caffeine tracking. So on the graph itself, it doesn't actually show you like, hey, you can start drinking coffee around 7:20 a.m. It just shows this tiny little bar that moves across throughout the timeline, and then it gives you a notification, hey, it's a good time to start drinking coffee if that's something you do. I wish it would give you a time so that I can sort of think about, okay, great, I can have coffee in 20 minutes because I'm really feeling like I need it right now. Things like that. So maybe that'll be fixed in a future update. I know they're always updating. They're able to do that, still a small company, and do those software updates, which is fantastic. That's one little quirk that I wish they would fix. So Ultrahuman, if you're listening, please just add, when you're saying that, you know, stimulant window, can you add a start and, you know, end time? Even if that changes compared to activity and stuff like that, just have something there so I can sort of get ready and be aware that, hey, on my drive to daycare today, in 10 minutes I can start drinking caffeine. Something like that would be really nice. The last con, honestly, is that I forget I'm wearing it, which I guess isn't really a con. That's kind of a plus. It's just super non-intrusive. Nothing like wearing a watch, you know, it just feels like a ring on your finger. One thing I'll note, and this is kind of a little pro tip, if you're actually going to buy one of these and you're thinking about what finger you want to wear it on, first they recommend you wear it on your first finger. I wanted to do my middle finger because I like the way it looks, and also if I get a little bit fatter, I can move it to my ring finger, and if I lost weight, which was my goal, I could move it to my first finger. But I want to mention, in terms of comfort with the ring, I'll try to sort of show this here, but I'm going to use the top of my fingers to kind of show my point here. But on your middle finger, you have two other fingers pushing against the ring, so you can see they add these gaps here. And that's just the case. If you wear it on your ring finger, it's the same. Now, it's not as profound as that when you're wearing it down here. You can see all my fingers can touch. It's not an issue, but you can feel the ring with these two fingers. Now, if I were to put it on my first finger, you can see that this finger pushes against it, but then there's room over here for the ring to stick out. So in terms of picking the right finger, I think data-wise, they recommend it being on your first finger. They say first, middle, or ring as the top three, but in terms of comfortability, that is the least obtrusive. But it's a very minuscule thing. I rarely feel it on here. I can just tell the difference between there and there. So as you're picking out your ring size, I would recommend the first finger, unless you're like me and you just like the way this looks, or if you want to be symmetrical and you have a wedding ring, get it for your ring finger. Whatever, doesn't matter. It even looks good on your thumb. So if you're a thumb ring kind of person, I don't know about the data tracking, if it's as great, but so kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about. Actually, my father-in-law commented on my last video when I talked about that I was going to be ditching the Apple Watch for this for a month, and said, hey, great, test it without Apple Watch, but then bring Apple Watch back in and talk about the experience of wearing both at the same time. Thank you, Johnny, for the recommendation. That's exactly what I did. So the great thing is I don't wear the watch to sleep anymore. Put it on the charger, it charges overnight, and I still have a health tracker. So I'm always wearing a health tracker. It's cool that I have some sort of thing monitoring my heart, and my skin temperature and all that kind of stuff at all times, which is nice. So having 2 devices is great. As I mentioned earlier, using the Apple Watch more so for tracking exercise data just seems a better product at this point. Maybe once the Ring comes out of beta, it'll be a lot better. I'm not sure the plan's there. Or maybe this is just, you know, kind of a match made in heaven if you're able to have both of these devices. There are things the Ring definitely does better, especially in the software department, and there are things that the watch does better, especially if you're interested in notifications and things like that. You know, obviously it's going to stand out there. Lots of thoughts here, long video. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this Ring is awesome. I think it's the best of the smart rings out there right now. I truly believe that. I didn't want one for a very long time, and then I had my mind changed, and I'm super glad that I have one now. I've really been enjoying talking with the team at Ultrahuman, hearing more about the Ring from their folks there. They're super kind. I love the way the company is moving, and like I said, that new product should be coming out around June or July, and I hope to get it on the channel and review it for you all. But that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, watch this video here. I think you're gonna love it. And again, down below, 10% off the Ultrahuman Ring Air. If you grab my link down below, it helps the channel. You're gonna love this thing, and I love you all. So I will see you in the next video.